Hi, my name is Gamma, and today I'm going to cover Bykski's CPU reservoir block pump combo. I'm going to start by covering the box. It's a pretty solid box. It's got good foam on the inside. It does come with a foam block that does go over the top of the actual acrylic on the block, so I wouldn't worry too much about shipping damage. Moving on from the box, I sorry, I'm reading from a script. Overall, the product is pretty solid. It looks nice. It has an addressable RGB header and full PWM support for the pump. It glows really nicely. I do like the glow on it. It is not this vibrant. It's only this vibrant just from the photo. It's a little bit duller than this, but it does glow nicely throughout the entire product. It's not like just a noticeable RGB ring and that's all you see. And I really appreciate that. So going on from that, I don't like RGB fans due to the bulk of what you usually get, which is an additional RGB controller slash fan controller in the back of the case. It takes up additional space, and I just don't like that. So I use pretty standard, just black or gray fans. And I've been using these fans specifically. They're just EK Vardars. I think they spin up to about 1,500 RPM. They're the older variants from, I want to say 2017, 2018. So when I picked them up, they're quite nice. And yeah, they fit the aesthetic of my case and my build quite nicely, personally. Overall, it comes with a branded cable tie. This is nice if you don't have a lot of space in the back and you really need to cable manage it in the front. You do get a specifically branded reusable cable tie that you can use. I don't have it imaged anywhere here. I'm going to pull it out and show it. Other than that, you also get a bit of thermal paste in the actual packaging. So, like, if you don't have any thermal paste, you could use the included in the box and it'd run fine. I haven't tested it. I haven't used it at all, so I can't specify the quality of it, but I'm sure it'll work fine for whatever CPU you're throwing it on. I'm going to switch back to my webcam. So this is the cable tie you get. It's not bad. It actually looks quite nice. It's a little shiny from my lighting here, but like inside of the case, I'm sure it wouldn't look this shiny in general. If you needed to manage the cables, it's really nice that they actually added this as an include rather than just having those wire twist ties. So I appreciate that. Other than that, going off of the script, oh yeah, that's an additional thing. So the block itself, the pump block combo, the pump block res combo, is about 114 millimeters wide. And I could see this potentially being an issue if you have a pretty standard size graphics card. Mine is a Radeon RX 6800 XT, specifically the Liquid Devil variant. And that card specifically is quite wide, and it's sitting at around, precisely, it's sitting at 162 millimeters wide. So you've got about 50 millimeters to work with for that cable run, not cable run, for the tubing run on this. If you have a more normal sized block that you're plugging into, they usually sit around 140 millimeters, maybe a little bit shorter. If you're running one of the EK, if you're running an EK, 3060, 3070, 3080 block specifically, you will have to adjust the way you're doing your GPU cooling run. It's just the cost of doing business, honestly. Those blocks specifically look nice, and there's a lot of use for those, so I wouldn't worry too much about it. There are other products you can slap on for blocks otherwise, but if you're running a pretty standard card with a pretty standard setup, this block does work quite nice. You might need to buy like a 90 or two 45s in order to get the bend that you're looking for correctly, but other than that, you're really not going to run into too many issues. The bending length that you have might be a problem if you're really trying to get a tight bend in there, but that's just something you're going to have to assess when you're planning out your build. for your tubing runs. Other than that, I'm running the Fractal Define 7 Nano as a case, which supports my card. It supports CPU cooler height of 165 or 167 millimeters in width/height. So that's just something to keep in mind. Make sure your case fits your card. Other than that, the block has 3 inlets and 2 outlets, one of which is blocked. This one specifically is blocked, so this specific CPU reservoir block combo was originally designed with intent for Intel's LGA socket mounting. So that's kind of why this specific port is here. I would have appreciated if they redesigned this specific outlet port, moved it down a little bit, and then moved this port up to here, but I understand why they didn't redesign it. It's a cost thing, so honestly, if you were looking for that feature, I'm sorry, but it's not going to be available to you to fill that way. I get around it by rotating my case 90 degrees. That's why my fittings, specifically right here on this specific picture, on this specific build. So I just rotate my case 90 degrees in order to fill it if I need to. You kind of have to do a funky rotate the case 90 degrees onto the front panel section in order to get the bubbles out from underneath the acrylic piece right here that stops turbulent flow. And those bubbles will rotate up here. The best thing to do is to turn off your system when you're doing this, because the pump will eat all of those bubbles almost immediately. This is why I'll get into this later, but this is one of the reasons I keep the pump speed so low. And then you'll rotate back 180 degrees. All the bubbles will collect near this outlet, and then you can just attach a tube and then just fill up that tube, and then release the ball valve, and you should be able to get all those bubbles out of there and then relock it, and so you can get more bubbles out of your system. That's just something to keep in mind. Other than that, I would have preferred, oh yes, the stickers. There are tamper evident stickers. There are 3 on the actual product. There's 1 between the block and the acrylic for the reservoir. I'm trying to get the images. Where did they go? Why are you doing this to me? Hold on. There we go. Okay, so here's where one of them is. The other one is on the block itself covering this port. I really wish they would have gone with this specific sticker style right here, where they would have put it here. I advise not removing the stickers for at least a year, or until you feel it is necessary to go in there and actually clean out the block. I also suggest not running pastels with this block as well, because they provide a warranty. It's a 2-year warranty specifically for the product. So as long as you do not disassemble the product and you send it to them as is, and you're like, hey, the pump's broken, can I get a replacement? They will ship you out a replacement block. So that is something to keep in note. Personally, I hate stickers like this. I really wish they would have just all been black with the Bykski logo on them, especially the one on the actual block itself, just in case there's any clearance issues I'm running into where this specific sticker is causing issues and interference with the block. But I haven't noticed anything, so I wouldn't suspect that you would run into an issue with that. Other than that, stickers. Yeah, so they have a 2-year warranty on the actual product. This is kind of why I would suggest running clear coolant rather than running a pastel coolant, because pastel coolants tend to clog up blocks. And you'll run into an issue where you will need to get into those blocks, you will need to clean out those fin arrays. If you're in that situation, at that point, you're going to have to void your warranty in order to clean those blocks out so you can clean those fin arrays. So that's just something to keep in mind. Naturally, I suspect if you're running clear coolant, you will not run into that issue. Another thing to point out is that the pump has a weird harmonic issue where anything that is outside the range of 2300 RPM to 2500 RPM, you're going to hear a strange harmonic occurrence. Now, the pump is rated to run between, I think it's 1500 RPM to 4000 RPM. So as long as you're running it within those tolerances, they should accept the returns. But I have mine set to 2300 RPM to 2500 RPM. I have it statically set to, I think, around 2400 RPM precisely, to like 2350 RPM. So that's just something to keep point out specifically. If you have it turned up to a higher RPM than that, you will tend to run into an issue where any bubble that exists within the loop will get shredded back into micro bubbles, and you'll see those throughout your entire loop again, and you'll have to wait for those to collect up in order to remove them out of your system again. So that's just something to keep in mind. Other than that, yeah, it kind of feels like it defeats the purpose of the PWM in the actual Switch itself. I don't mind that it has the PWM ability, as it does give you the ability to increase speed if you feel that you're running into an issue with your flow rate inside of your system. You can turn that up to see if it does help improve your flow rate overall. Generally, I give this product a solid 3 out of 5. It's a good product for what it's designed to do. It's really designed to replace your pump reservoir if you're running a larger case. I was actually downsizing from a full ATX, so into this ITX chassis build. It's not a full small form factor. I didn't want to go into a full small form factor just because I wasn't ready to spend the money and replace my power supply quite yet. This is a relatively new 850 watt power supply, so I didn't want to end up replacing it with a small form factor SFX power supply in order to get into a smaller chassis. So that's just something to keep in note of, and honestly, that's why I chose this chassis. This pump block combo is really good for chassis like this. If you're running into a smaller chassis that gives you that clearance for a CPU cooler, I would definitely suggest running this specific block. If it doesn't have a window, the RGB is kind of pointless. You can just turn it off at that point. If you're running into a smaller case that has a very much tighter clearance set for the actual tubing runs from the block, I would suggest trying to find something else like the Baro specific pump block combo for the AM4 socket. That one actually looks quite nice. I haven't specifically used it myself, and due to that, I probably won't be reviewing one because I'm not going to spend the money on it myself, because it's not something I'm upgrading to right now. So it would be a waste of me spending that money on that product. But there are other channels that have reviewed it and have used it for their builds. It's quite a nice pump block combo. It looks quite nice in builds, and it does achieve the effect that is needed for smaller form factor builds where you're really trying to eke out every little bit of space you can on a full small form factor build for water cooling specifically. Other than that, honestly, it's a great product in general. Those minor small issues that I have with like the stickers and whatnot, they're pretty minor. 3 out of 5. Like, I really do think that they should have redesigned the block. If they had redesigned the block, it would have given access to that top port, which would have been nice. Naturally, because of that, that knocks it down a star. And then obviously the harmonic issues with the actual pump, in addition to the warranty stickers and the way the warranty is set up for this product, I'm not the biggest fan of for the stickers, is the main reason for that additional knockdown. I don't like that they put a sticker on the actual block plate surface there like that. I would have appreciated if it would have just been on the screw. That would have been greatly appreciated, but you know, it is what it is. It's not going to affect thermal capacity, and it's really just annoying that it's there. So overall, it's a pretty solid product. I genuinely would just give it a 3 out of 5. It's pretty well designed. It does the job. But if you would like me to review any other product, just let me know. Otherwise, I hope you all have a great day. Have a good one.